Imagine a startup hanging by a thread. No customers, no revenue. The odds stacked so heavily against survival that it feels like a miracle if it even makes it through the next month. Every founder watching this knows that gut-wrenching fear, that gnawing question: how the hell am I supposed to keep this alive if no one's paying for it yet? It's a raw, brutal reality. The sleepless nights, the constant grind, the endless doubt. If this feels like your world, it's because you're on the edge, where the real game is played. The truth is, most people think startups have to survive by selling something right from the start. That customers mean cash, and cash means breathing room. But what if survival isn't about customers? At least not yet. What if the secret sauce isn't sales, but something deeper, something almost nobody talks about, but every founder inside that grind knows instinctively? Because this isn't about shallow metrics. It's about soul, resilience, and the kind of strategic patience that feels like wrestling with your own demons every damn day. Here's the thing. Startups without paying customers are not broken. They're misunderstood. They're vessels of potential, yes, but bottles that won't pop open until the pressure is just right. Imagine that. No pressure equals no explosion. What some miss is that survival depends more on purpose and positioning than revenue at the start. Money is a signpost, not the road itself. Let's lay it out straight. No product market fit means no paying customers. But finding product market fit is more art than science. It's about obsession with real problems, relentless testing, and, this is the secret, stubborn emotional stubbornness to keep going, even when the world tells you to quit. You're not alone if you feel crushed by the absence of paying users. You are exactly where the rare founders reside, in that painful, exhausting limbo of figuring out what the hell really matters to your future customers. Now here's the emotional core you need to grasp and wrestle with. Your startup lives in its potential to solve someone's pain that nobody else has cracked. Maybe customers aren't paying because they don't yet know they need you. Maybe the problem you're aiming at is too ahead of its time, or wrapped in layers so dense that only a few will ever recognize the gem you're mining. This is not a failure. It is war. The war to wake the world to what's next. So how do startups survive this war with zero paying customers? First, they build frictionless alignment. This means every move, every ounce of energy, every contact and conversation lines up with one goal: unearthing the exact pain point that finally convinces the first real customer to break silence and hand over the first dollar. It's uncomfortable as hell because it forces brutal clarity on what doesn't work. It forces rejection to feel like fuel, not failure. You must become a human sensor, wildly sensitive to subtle signals no one else sees, taking every no and not yet as a whisper, a clue, a map that guides the next impossible pivot. But beyond that, survival requires something rarer and often invisible: radical community. No founder is an island. Those startups that survive without a single paying customer find salvation in their tribal ties. Investors who don't just throw money, but open networks. Mentors who tell brutal truths, wrapped in encouragement. Peers who understand the insane loneliness and hold space without judgment. This web of aligned energy becomes a fortress, shielding you from the world's noise and giving you the oxygen to keep breathing when the zeros on the bank statement threaten to choke you. And here's a brutal but beautiful truth. It's not about immediate growth. It's about slow forging. Think about it like this. Diamonds aren't made overnight. They are born from pressure and time. The startups that survive without paying customers are diamonds in the rough, slowly solidifying their core value, sharpening their insight, strengthening their story, and building their world-changing potential while everyone else chases instant results and fades away. Now listen closely. Survival is also about engineering your own economy. You can't rely on customers day one, so you have to find alternative ways to sustain growth and spirit. Maybe it's partnerships that offer resources without cost. Maybe it's pilot projects that build anticipation but don't pay yet. Maybe it's grants, pre-sales, or even leveraging free tools to prototype faster than anyone else. But whatever the case, the key is deliberate resourcefulness. turning scarcity into a force multiplier instead of a death sentence. Scarcity sharpens minds and distills focus. This is a secret weapon if you can master it. What's often invisible to outsiders is the emotional battlefield founders walk through. The exhaustion of showing up every day when nothing seems to be working, but you have no other choice than to show up again. The suffocating pressure of knowing your mission could redefine whole industries, yet the world treats you like an invisible ghost. Surviving startups don't fall apart because they are stronger. They survive because they tether their hope not to shallow vanity metrics, but to a deep, unshakable conviction that their work matters, that what they're building could unsettle the status quo and make the world better for countless people who don't even know it yet. Now, imagine flipping the script. Instead of fearing the empty cash register, you see it as a blank canvas, a sanctuary where you can iterate, dream, and create without the chains of immediate demand. When there are no paying customers, you don't have to satisfy the masses. You get to refine your vision with raw honesty. Every interaction, every prototype, every failure is a step closer to awakening the market. That's empowerment, not a punishment. This leads to a paradox that every founder must embrace. Survival in early stages means being anti-consensus. While others scramble for traction and quick wins, the startups that endure are the misfits, the rebels who quietly build a foundation so solid it can erupt into explosive growth later. They live on the edge of what's accepted and comfortable because comfort kills startups quietly and slowly. Without customers, they turn inward, obsess over what really solves, and relentlessly challenge assumptions, owning the art of unlearning to break free of what everyone expects. And while this battle is lonely, the lonely path is also where revolutionary clarity is born. Without paying customers, there's no noise of popularity, no herd to follow blindly. This silence is a gift. It forces founders to wrestle with raw questions about why they're doing what they're doing. It demands ruthless honesty and clarity about mission, vision, and the measurable impact the startup can have once that first customer finally steps forward. Embracing that silence without breaking. That's the ultimate survival skill. Lastly, survival means patience wrapped in action. It means waking up every damn day to grind with the faith that showing up relentlessly counts far more than instant results. Profit is a milestone, not a starting point. The startup that survives without a single paying customer is already winning. It's winning in clarity, in resilience, in discipline. It's winning by refusing to settle for mediocrity or a borrowed path. It's winning by becoming sovereign of its own destiny, crafting reality through sheer will, precision, and the courage to outlast every fear and rejection. So, to every founder, every rebel, every visionary watching this, survival without customers is not your enemy. It's your crucible. It's the forge where everything that really matters is born. This is the place where myths are shattered and new legends begin. It's the pause before the storm, the silence before the symphony. But it's not a dead end. It's a launching pad. What comes next is up to you. Will the empty bench scare you off, or will it fuel the fire that builds your irrepressible rise? The world doesn't need more latecomers to safe roads. The world needs the few who burn without permission, who survive when no one believes, who create what can't yet be bought. This is your time to be that rare spark, to endure beyond what seems possible, to survive without a single paying customer, not because it's easy, but because you simply will not let your story end without first shaking the foundations of everything. Hold fast. The dawn for your startup is closer than you think. And when that first dollar finally lands, it will feel like a victory born of blood, sweat, and every sleepless night you refuse to quit. Keep pushing. Keep building. The world is waiting for what only you can create.